Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 5 of our F1 2003 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Monaco Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live earlier on in the week from Barcelona, the Spanish GP, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Ferrari, we're doing pretty well so far this season, and we finally chalked up our first win, stopping Michael Schumacher's reign of terror at the front of the order. We bagged our second 1-2 in a row as a team, so it means our rival, our teammate, our rival, has got a 26-point lead still at the top of the championship. Ferrari, though, we've got almost twice the points of Williams in the Constructors right now. Fernando Alonso still in P3 ahead of DC, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Kimi Raikkonen, of course, a real disappointment last weekend as well. But yeah, returning though to Monaco, we've won this race the last 3 years in a row. So, I mean, winning it 4 times back to back would be absolutely incredible. Of course, it's where we took our first win for Ferrari last season, so a lot of happy memories as well coming from this venue. But Renault look very competitive. I expect them to be strong. It might also be a circuit that suits Williams or McLaren. It really does feel like anything can happen this weekend. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We are trying to hit 140,000 subs before F1 25 comes out. Also, if you haven't already and you want to help support us just a little bit more, you can click the join button down below for just £1 a month. You get early access to all the videos, as well as a few other little perks and bits and pieces like that. It genuinely does help us out so much as well, whilst YouTube can be inconsistent at the best of times. But yeah, let's head then here into qualifying. Well, I'll be honest then, as we head into qualifying here, I'm not convinced the Ferrari is the car to beat around these tight, twisty streets. Of course, anything can happen as we make our way through qualifying. But yeah, I think, you know, your Williams, your McLarens, your BARs, they are looking probably just a little bit better. This car actually just feels a little bit understeery around this venue, so I'm having to kind of try and turn in earlier than I think I want to be into quite a few places. And yeah, just really kind of trying to find the precision has not been easy so far. I try to tweak as much as I can with the setup, but yeah, then just getting met with a little bit of oversteer on corner exit as well is certainly compromising us as we do our run. But you know, this circuit as well is one where the driver can and does absolutely make the difference as well. So just try and bounce over the curbing through the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane.
Are you okay? That was a nasty hit.
What on earth has happened to the car? I think a Williams has also binned it down there, but that's one of the oddest accidents I've ever seen. I mean, the original mistake, nothing too surprising there. Just nick the inside wheel through to back, and that has immediately ripped the suspension apart. But I think either that's just a bit of a weird graphical bug, but I can see Williams components and even, I think, yeah, it's Renault and Sauber components all involved in that accident as well. So, not really sure how that works. But I guess we're going to be starting right down at the rear of the field then as we head into the race. Well, there we go. David Coulthard will line up on pole. Of course, he actually, in real life, did go very well around this circuit on numerous occasions. Back in the early 2000s, I believe a 2-time winner here in Monaco. Schumacher will line up P2 ahead of Alonso. Toyota lining up P4 and P5. So that is a huge opportunity for them to score big points. But Olivier Panis, Juan Pablo Montoya, Button, myself, and Raikkonen all messing up our qualifying runs. We're going to have a mixed up grid then ready for the race. So let's just see what happens.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Well, I think another top 10 here is going to be quite difficult. I apologise as well. We've kind of got no idea about any of the setup for this one. I accidentally skipped through the pre-race intro, which is not optimal. We've moved up 1 place, though, ready for the start of this one. So someone clearly is taking grid penalties behind us. But a top 10 finish today is not going to be easy to come by. My plan is start on the mediums, try and move through some of the slower cars as quickly as we can, and just see where we end up ready in this one. 39 laps ahead of us. Looks like it's Jarno Trulli that starts behind. Schumacher as well. Looks like he's taken some penalties. 5 red lights. And it is going to be lights out then for the Monaco Grand Prix. So Coulthard, especially with Michael opting to take some penalties, he should have, whoa, pretty clear running there down in towards someone. It's completely locking the rear brakes up. Not too sure what that one was all about, so I think we're going to move the brake bars forward immediately as we make our way up the hill and just try to be a little bit more gentle. Lucky we're not out of this race on lap 1. Barely survived a lap so far this weekend. After free practice there as Raikkonen tries to have a bit of a look past us to the inside, though, of Jenson Button as we wind our way down in towards the hairpin. Unfortunately now it is just a log jam when you're starting at the rear of the field. Try to go the long way around Juan Pablo Montoya, but that won't happen as Ralf Schumacher and Nick Heidfeld there wheel to wheel. I mean, Minardi, no idea where Massa qualified in the end, but they can have a real opportunity as well this afternoon. The big one, though, has got to be Toyota. First ever Formula 1 points last time out. And, well, with both cars now, probably lining up about 3rd and 4th for this race. They are going to be in a really, really good spot this afternoon. But already then, everybody just trying to settle down into a bit of a rhythm. Montoya there not looking as good through the chicane as I was hoping he would. But we've just got to try and work out where we can look for moves there. Almost doing a Michael Schumacher down at the Rascas then at the end of lap 1. But we have just about survived. And we've even gained a couple of places. Well, tucked up then behind Juan Pablo Montoya. He seems to be pretty good through Sector 1 and Sector 2. It's really just Sector 3 where the Williams driver seems to be struggling there as well. Bouncing over the curbing. Can we have a look down the inside through the Rascas? Yes, we can. And, you know, you've got to be brave to try and make the overtakes around this venue. There's no way Juan in real life would ever let you try and pull off that move on him. Whoa, hello. Well, I wasn't expecting him to try and have a look back around the outside down at turn 1. He might have picked up a little bit of front wing damage in that one, and it might allow Button to try and move past him as well. But honestly, I think between us and the top 10, that Williams definitely the quickest car here. So hopefully we can start moving through some of these others with a little bit kind of greater ease. I think Coulthard, yeah, I mean, his goal surely early on is just walk away from the rest of the order there, is trying to have a look around the outside of Olivier Panis. Of course, that historic win here in 1996, you know, the stuff of legend from 16th place on the grid, one of the only drivers to pretty much survive the race that weekend. And it was completely a race of, you know, just be there at the flag and see where you end up. Obviously, in his Ligier, of course, the team collapsed really, yeah, before obviously this series began back in 1998 as well. But trying to see if we can get another run then in towards those final couple of corners. This is definitely our best place to try and go for moves around the entire circuit, because we've gained another one. Oh, Mark Webber, that Jaguar. It was pretty terrible last weekend before it blew up. Looking pretty terrible again here, as we've got so much more straight line speed over that car, despite the downforce setup that we're running. I mean, the Jordan and the Minardi here, they should be really easy to get by. There we go, down the inside of our teammate's younger brother. Well, it is Felipe Massa then running just up inside that top 10, but hopefully we're going to deny Minardi a bit of a fairy tale this afternoon. It's down the inside of his teammate we will go. Again, just, it's the understeer on the exit. This car, you can feel the front bounce around so much over the curbs. I know we mentioned it last season. Hasn't been much of an issue this year so far, but when all the downforce is cranked on, it really does make life rather difficult around this venue, as Barrichello following his fellow Brazilian through those final couple of corners. Can we try and get a run on the Jaguar man? He's going to try and swing a little bit defensive against us. Of course, we've had many a battle with Rubens inside this series, but around the outside of turn 1, it already looks like our teammate is just a little bit stuck behind Takuma Sato, though, in this race. Is down the inside of Massa. We will go as well. They're a bit of a send. We thought about trying to fight it on the exit, but immediately see how much time we've gained. Schumacher's got to make moves, otherwise we're going to try and find a way past him. Oh, here we go. Schumacher immediately then, as soon as I say that, trying to have a look past Takuma Sato up towards the top of the hill there, and he'll make it by the Jordan. I guess that is one of the good things about having such a big performance delta between, you know, some of your top cars and your worst ones inside this game. That Monaco overtakes can kind of happen. Does often mean, of course, the likes of Sato are getting lapped in quite a few Grand Prix, which rarely happens, of course, in the modern era. Obviously did happen in Japan last weekend because Lance Stroll was doing Lance Stroll things, but Schumacher then finding a way past the young Japanese driver. We're going to try and do the same on the very same lap there. Sato very late on the brakes, trying to hang on to it, but we were later. Honestly, Schumacher probably wasn't going to qualify up towards the front had, you know, myself, Raikkonen, Montoya, Button all struggled in qualifying. Because, yeah, we are definitely a lot quicker than our teammate early on in the race. Whether it's just a confidence thing, whether he's just trying to take those soft tyres as far as he possibly can now. But, yeah, we're kind of in an awkward spot here. Do we kind of sacrifice a potential big result to make sure we beat Michael? Or do we just focus on trying to beat Michael Schumacher out here? And obviously hope that we're going to get more opportunities as the season goes on. I just don't know whether I'm going to be able to get around him on circuit at the moment, because of course, you know, identical cars, he has got enough straight line speed against us. We just kind of got to wait for an error, I feel. Or, when do I think he'll pit? I mean, we are pushing Michael along through these corners. Don't know whether he just hasn't got the grip or the confidence or what, but here we go then. Oh, no, down the inside of the Rascas, and that was kind of the treatment I was expecting to receive from Juan Pablo Montoya, but Schumacher absolutely not letting us happen. We've actually picked up just a tiny bit of front wing damage as well, so I don't know kind of how that's going to affect performance, but Ferrari coming together for the first time this season. Well, I could honestly be tempted to pit pretty much now then in this Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, Zob Baumgartner, probably one of the more competitive weekends they've had so far this year. See Giancarlo Fisichella just holding them up, so no idea where Jacques Villeneuve is. Well, in that other car. I don't believe Jacques ever won the Monaco Grand Prix, did he, in his time in Formula 1 either, so yeah, certainly I don't think today is going to be that day. David Coulthard still running away with it up at the front of the grid. I think he's got about a 15-second lead over anybody else right now, so McLaren today could finally be their kind of return to form this season. They obviously didn't win a race last year. Every race won by Williams or Ferrari, but I'm going to take the gamble then. We're going to pit really early here, get a new front wing on the wagon as well. I don't think it's costing us too much time, but I just like it for kind of peace of mind in this Grand Prix, and that puts pressure on Schumacher as well as to kind of what he does. I know it's still early on in the year, but you know, it is just kind of those little things that can make all the difference come the end of a season. A 9-second stop is not fantastic. Big thing as well is making sure that we come back out ahead of Sato. I was hoping we'd come out in some clear air in this race, which I think we will. But when will the AI pit? That's the other question. And will Schumacher, he might just, if he was to box now, come out ahead of a few of them, but not many. Go Schumacher. Schumacher immediately responds into the pit lane. So he's definitely going to come back out ahead of me then in this race. But we, I mean, instantly purple middle sector. Hard tyres feeling pretty good on the wagon. But will Schumacher stay out ahead of the likes of Trulli and Kimi Raikkonen then? Because that could really help him out as this race continues on. I'm surprised, though, that the AI have boxed as soon after me as they have. As Schumacher... Oh, he's still out ahead of me. I was going to say, I'd be staggered if we got the jump on him with that. He does come out, though, down in P19. Ferrari, we've won every race this year, and now we are last and second to last. Well, I can only assume it's Felipe Massa holding up this huge train of cars right now, but the Brazilian and his Minardi team probably again enjoying the laps they're running up inside the top 10 here. But Schumacher and we've got so much work to do as this race continues on. I know some of you were commenting on it about it back in Shanghai, although for some reason there's a bit of a weird graphical bug where the Ferrari uses DRS. It doesn't actually make the car any quicker in a straight line. I did test it a couple of times in Shanghai. All it was there was the fact that Schumacher just had a much lower downforce setup than me, as he's going to force me to his outside then. Not too sure what that was all about. Can we try and find the room, though? We've got to make sure we give him the space through the exit of the corner. Again, he's going to turn in on us. So not too much of a fan of that, but past our teammate will go, and that is huge for our World Championship hopes here. But the real question is, how many other cars can we try and move by? Obviously, as others start to pit, I'm sure everybody else that was just ahead of Schumacher when he boxed will be looking kind of at that gap and trying to come out ahead. I think Felipe Massa is the real bottleneck in this race, is all thought about it. Down the inside there are Jarno Trulli. Sauber, for a team that's looked so competitive this year. Monte Carlo this weekend has not gone very well. Of course, Jarno, I believe, yeah, he won his first ever Formula 1 race as well, didn't he? Here in Monaco in 2004, obviously for the Renault team. So, yeah, Sauber this year fielding 2 Monaco Grand Prix winners. So we've got yellows out somewhere. No idea who is dropping to the wayside then in this Grand Prix. Is it? Oh, it's Michael! Schumacher behind us has gone. So I was trying to look on the minimap, see if I can find something, but Michael Schumacher is our first retirement out of the Grand Prix. Heartbreak for our teammate. Certainly brings up questions about our reliability there. As down the inside of Kimi Räikkönen we will go, but I cannot believe that. That gives us a huge chance today, if we can score well. I wonder why he took grid penalties then. Clearly, if the team were worried about something, they should have done more with the car. Oh, let's try and get a run then. Jenson Button, obviously with Schumacher out. I know obviously we haven't been best friends so far in this series anyway, but especially this year, those kind of races give us a huge opportunity in the World Championship then. So we'll go past Button. We'll be able to have a look past Webber into 1. Not quite. Already gone past the Jaguar once in this race, and that was up the hill. In towards Casino Square. You can just see how much we gain on it, though. That Jaguar, oh, it really is a disappointment inside this series. And, of course, yeah, it won't be long before they're going to be bought out by Red Bull either. There is around the outside of Webber will go. Hopefully we'll get that sorted out. Don't think he's going to try and fight it too hard. Oh, yes, he is. And Webber's going to put me in the wall. What was that? Yeah, barely the car alongside. I don't really want to pit for a new front wing unless I absolutely have to in this Grand Prix, but yeah, no idea what Mark Webber's kind of idea was there. The gap was always closing. You think he would have backed out of it. Surely he's picked up front wing damage as well, but will we be able to continue kind of limping on to the outside then this time round on Juan Pablo Montoya? Of course, one time we got down the inside there. As he slaps the wall through the inside of that final corner, so we will just about get around him there rather luckily. Up into P14 then. So yeah, this does now give Massa, of course, an opportunity to score points today for Minardi, if they can hold up everybody else. AVA Panis up next then. Down the inside of the Sauber man will go. Luckily, he does give me the room there, as we absolutely mount the curb. And yeah, obviously Sauber again, definitely never going to try and fight our cars all too much. And Panis, again, I think his mindset is, I've won this race by surviving before. That's exactly what I want to try and do today. Can we get a run on Ralph in towards the next braking zone? Down the inside again we will go. Another firm but fairish move. Well, I know that Felipe Massa's running up inside the top 10 right now, but honestly, watching both of those Minardi cars so far in this Grand Prix, I mean, they've got no straight line speed either, which is certainly not helping them. There is Heidfeld. Oh, will try and cover me off in towards turn 1, but I mean, they've got no straight line speed and no ability through the corners. Again, I think it's going to be another tough year for them. I really want to see them score, even if it's just 1 point all year. It's always nice when some of these backmarker teams get a point on the board still inside this series. Yeah, Barrichello, I mean, again, that Jaguar doesn't seem to be much better around this venue, so I don't think Rubens can do a lot. As Coulthard, I mean, he's got 45 seconds on me at the moment. I think, yeah, DC has won this one. I don't know how many overtakes I've had to make so far in this race, but it feels like far too many for just lap 17 of the Grand Prix. Is down the inside of Rubens. He clearly didn't want to back out of that one, but he was kind of off the road to try and keep it alongside us there. There's a 14-second gap up to Sato up the road. So the AI have all gone much further into this race than I was expecting them to. Of course, any position now we finish inside the top 10 allows us to take points out of Schumacher, so I know we can't try and risk it too much. As to the outside then of Massa back towards turn 1. Minardi looking pretty good top end wise. But there we go, finally back up then into P9, and now we can just settle down. Well, there we go, despite the little bit of wing damage when we're out in clear air, we are still the fastest car on circuit right now. 3 seconds we took out of Sato that lap. Although, like I said, I think Coulthard going to win this one. Maybe a podium still possible if Jacques Villeneuve's holding up everybody else in his Toyota. Oh, so there we go. There we go. Jacques Villeneuve into the pit lane then. So this will give us a good idea as to how well the Toyota man is doing. Takuma Sato also in, so we should be comfortably ahead of Sato by the time he comes back out. But what about Jacques Villeneuve? I don't actually know exactly what position he was in beforehand, but either way, he's come out a good few seconds still ahead of me here. So hopefully we'll kind of be out ahead of Davidson and Baumgartner. But yeah, Villeneuve still 4.5 seconds up the road. There we go, Giancarlo Fisichella then in that second Toyota, also in. And I mean, Toyota, so obviously last year was just a season of kind of getting their sea legs under them. This year they want to see some real results and want to start picking up a few points there, as we will get ahead of Anthony Davidson and Giancarlo there on the exit turn 1. Alex Wirtz, he's one we haven't really spoke about much this season so far, running up in a very good P5. But I think we've still got a couple more to pit. Talk of the devil, there's Zolt Baumgartner. There we go, I think he's the last one then that we are definitely going to jump in this race. So Toyota, one weekend on from their very first Formula 1 points. They are looking at the moment like they could be on for their very first Formula 1 podium. I assume, obviously, it's Alonso kind of comfortably ahead of Jacques Villeneuve here. But I don't think he's applying much pressure to Coulthard either. Really am a bit of an unknown, though, as we are still the fastest car on circuit. Kind of staggered that we've made it all the way up to P5 in the first half of this GP. But there's still, yeah, a long way to go. Well, this is the Monaco that we've come to know and love, of course, especially more in recent years. But as you start getting towards the cars that are a bit more competitive, you have to get a little bit more creative in where you want to try and go for moves. This one's worked for us all day, though, to the inside of Wirtz there. A little bit of front locking on the exit. Luckily, he gives me the room. But up then into P4 of this race, Villeneuve. I like Toyota. I think they were always quite an interesting Formula 1 team. But after having to listen to Jacques all of last weekend commentating over the Japanese Grand Prix, if I can get past him, I'm certainly going to go for it. And I won't feel sorry for him inside this race either. Alonso, though, 20 seconds up the road. So even with, 15 laps left and almost half this race, this probably will be the last overtake we can really make today, if I can make it happen. But you just see how much this car slides around. It does not work well on these really low-speed tracks. Here we go then. We made it work on Wirtz 1 lap ago. Will Jacques Villeneuve meet the same fate there? Oh, we locked up even worse that time. Apologies, Jacques. But we got the car down the inside there and up then into P3 of this race. Villeneuve, I think we did avoid giving him any front wing damage. He's actually going to try and come back at me in towards turn 1, so that's a rather brave choice as well. But Coulthard 27 seconds clear. Alonso 20 seconds clear. I'm going to try and pull away from these guys. I'm going to try and see if I can hang them. But yeah, that might be all we can really do in this race. Well, for about the last 15 laps or so, we have just been driving a Ferrari around the streets of Monte Carlo, and that, any time of the year, sounds pretty good to me. Gutted, though, as we get in towards these final couple of laps, finally have to deal with some lap traffic. Massa, whatever's happened in this Grand Prix to him, he's dropped right to the rear of the order, so I don't think Minardi are going to be scoring points today. I would assume Rubens Barrichello is going to end Jaguar's drought so far this year, as Felipe then will let us by up over the top of the hill. But yeah, obviously with Schumacher's DNF from this race, the gap at the top of the Drivers' Championship is going to come down massively. But Fernando Alonso, he's been very consistent so far this year. Hasn't taken a win, and doesn't look like he will today either. But has just kind of been there or thereabouts every single weekend. And that is really helping kind of keep his points tally rolling so far. Thank you, Jarno Trulli. I appreciate it, buddy. But yeah, Coulthard at the front of the order. I mean, we've been quicker than the front two. But I think they obviously had to deal with a lot more traffic than I have. But yeah, I don't think, even if we've been able to get to them, I think we might have struggled to find a way around those two. Just because their cars are quick enough. But as we round our way, though, to start the last lap, we are going to lap our top two's teammates here, Montoya and Raikkonen. They have had an absolutely torrid time, glued to the back of Mark Webber throughout most of this weekend's proceedings. And, well, a disaster on Saturday normally leaves you with a pretty painful Sunday here on the Monte Carlo streets. One more lap to go, though, of this race. And David Coulthard, like I said, I believe he won this race twice IRL in 2000 and in 2002. This has never really been a circuit that kind of suits the favourites each and every year there, so can't say I'm too surprised, that Ferrari this weekend, we have struggled. Disappointed, absolutely, by it. I would have loved to have claimed our 4th victory on these streets inside this series, but that's the way, unfortunately, things go sometimes in Formula 1 then, as Webber will let us buy Button as well. Jacques Villeneuve looks like he's still going to hang on for P4, and a huge result as well for Toyota here. But as he rounds his way through the final few corners, McLaren, I don't think they've won a race since we took victory back in Mexico in 2001. Cool part today, though, Ron Dennis and his belief in the Scotsman is finally going to come out back on top there. Fernando Alonso will pick up yet another podium for Williams so far this year, and a 2nd place finish as well to boot there. Out of the final corner, from the back of the grid though, P3, we claim big points out of Schumacher.
That's it then for another nail-biting Monaco Grand Prix. We were on the edge of our seats the whole time, but they've come through to take a stunning victory. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
Well, there we are then. McLaren finally get back on the top step of the podium, and it means now in just 5 races we've seen as many different teams win a race as we did last season. I'm sure we will also see Williams claim victory with one of their 2 drivers over the course of the campaign as well there. 15 places gained though for us as the race went on, so very, very happy with that result. If you told me we got a podium after qualifying, I probably wouldn't have believed you there. Jacques Villeneuve in 4th though, huge points for Toyota with Wirtz in a Toyota sandwich there. Both BARs as well inside the top 10. Takuma Sato for Jordan, and then Olivier Panis as well, proving why he's so good around this venue in that final points paying position as well. That is really bad news for both Jaguar and Minardi at this stage of the campaign. Just Michael who failed to see the checkered flag. Have a look then, it brings the gap down at the top of the championship to just 11 points there. Coulthard though only 18 back, and Fernando Alonso only 23 points behind your World Championship leader. Juan Pablo Montoya and Kimi Raikkonen, definitely the 2 unluckiest drivers from your big team so far this year. Wirtz still just ahead of Panis, Baumgartner, and now Jacques Villeneuve up inside your top 10 as well. And it does just leave those Jaguars, the Minardis, Ralf Schumacher, it's just, those 5 that are yet to score so far. Constructors-wise, Ferrari, we've still got a big lead at the top of the table. Renault leapfrogged their way up into 4th. Toyota as well up into 6th there, as Sauber get relegated all the way down into 7th place. And like we said, just Jaguar, Minardi yet to score. Jordan again getting points on the board. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for, I believe, the Canadian Grand Prix.